Okay, everyone, the time has finally come for me, Waifu Selector, to discuss God of War Ragnarok. And don't worry, no spoilers. I really don't want to spoil anything. So all the gameplay I'll use will be from incredibly early in the game, and maybe I'll use some trailer B-roll too. I don't know. So yeah, don't worry about spoilers. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about this game. As usual, I'll try not to waste your time, and obviously, if I'm here talking to you guys about this, then I've clearly finished the game. And in this game's case, I really finished it. That is to say, I did everything. After 45 hours of gameplay, 100% of the game is now done. And to put it plainly, this game is fucking outstanding. It's just fucking incredible. And it's surprising that the game is this good, but at the same time, it's no surprise at all because we know what Sony Santa Monica is capable of after the first game, but following that up in just as effective a fashion seemed unlikely. And yet, here we are. So let's get into the specifics, but of course I'll have to talk around the spoilers, so forgive me if I'm coming off a bit too vague in this whole video. So let's get into the bulk of where this game really fucking shines despite the shadow of its predecessor. And it lies in the gameplay. Trust me when I say that every aspect of the gameplay has been turned up to 11. And the crown jewel of it all is the enemy variety. There is such a variety of enemy types this time around, and it's so enjoyable. There are so many more combinations of enemies to face now, and honestly, the enemies seem less forgiving. They don't just wait around, take turns hitting you or anything like that, and certain mobs of more aggressive enemies can almost fucking stun lock you. I played this game on the standard difficulty, give me balance, same as the first game, and this game definitely seemed more challenging to me in the best of ways. And the enemy variety also extends into the bosses and mini bosses. You know, in 2018, the trolls probably made up the bulk of the boss encounters, but in Ragnarok, there are just a lot of different kinds of bosses you can face, and something that I personally love, we got more of the really big grandiose bosses from like old school God of War trilogy days. You remember the 2018 game gave us a taste of that with the dragon fight, but here in Ragnarok, we've got multiple bosses who are just really fucking big, and I love that. But now, let's step away from enemies but still keep it on gameplay. The 2018 game had a few RPG elements mixed into its bag, and like every other aspect of gameplay, Ragnarok turns that shit all the way up. There are so many more options to fight how you want to fight in this game, so much more room for builds and things like that. The approach to combat is just so much more open-ended, and in a game with such a fun, amazingly fluid combat model, adding this level of variety of playstyle into that just puts this game at a level that's tough to reach. I was a little hurt, honestly, that the game doesn't have New Game Plus right now, because I was legit gonna just switch all my gear, play it again, and just fight completely fucking differently. And I don't think that the game is really designed or made in a way to immediately be played again or anything like that, but I think it just happened by accident. I think they just accidentally hit a nail on the head. It's just so fucking fun to play. But okay, yeah, I've talked about enemies and gear and builds and all that shit, but what about the world itself? Well, I wasn't lying to you when I said earlier that every aspect of gameplay has been turned up to 11. The world has absolutely been cranked the fuck up. Not only are there just more realms to explore, but the open expanses are significantly larger, and not unnecessarily. Like I said, I did everything in the game in 45 hours. So this isn't a Ubisoft bloat of busy work where it's just big for big's sake, but there's just so much more to explore and so many more worthwhile surprises to find and side quests to do. Oh, and if you were wondering if there's anything super hard to fight like the Valkyries in the first game, the answer is yes. I won't spoil what that is, but it's there and it's hard. So yeah, I think that just about covers the gameplay. So what about the story? Well, let me start by saying that Ragnarok's story is great. This is quality shit. However, this is one area that Ragnarok does not surpass the first game in, if you ask me. The 2018 game was just this insanely genuine, tightly focused thing that managed to capture such an unmatched, realistic slice of life in an otherwise blatantly fantastical world. It was a nuts mix, and it's fucking tough to compete with. And here in Ragnarok, the story appropriately has a lot more going on in it, and I don't really mean that in a necessarily negative or positive way, just more as a fact. There's more going on, but for all those things going on, the story never really feels scatterbrained at any point still, you know, so that's good. I think the tone is noticeably different from the first game, but not so different that it feels like a departure, and existing characters' tones have still been kept intact. So, you know, if you like Mimir and how he was acting, if you like how Atreus was acting at his core and, you know, Kratos at his core, then, you know, all that's still there. But the gallivanting action adventure tone style has had its dial turned up a bit, as opposed to some of the more somber and emotion driven stuff that was happening in 2018. I mean, that stuff's still here in Ragnarok, but it's a little less tightly focused, you know? I really wish I could get specific about some of the stuff that I think is actually really, really well written in this game, but unfortunately it would give away plot points. I can't even talk about the overarching messaging because, again, it would kind of give away plot points. But something I can say, since we all know that Odin is in the game, is that Odin, in my opinion, is written very, very, very well. Again, I can't get into specifics even though I really want to, but I think it's very good. So yeah, I guess there you have it. That's pretty much what I think of God of War Ragnarok. Sorry if you did want me to be more specific, but I really think it's worth people experiencing for themselves and getting to be surprised by as much as possible. So yeah, but you know, it's only been out for like a week and stuff like that, so I honestly kind of feel like it's not even fair of me to just, you know, spout off all the shit that happens in the game and all the shit that, you know, all the gameplay things that happen, any of that stuff. So, you know, kept it vague. You know, maybe I'll do a video down the line where I just, you know, go full fucking spoilers, and, you know, obviously I'll put a spoiler warning and shit like that at the beginning. But yeah, for now, this is what we got. So yeah, God of War Ragnarok. If I had to put a number on it, I've thought about this long and hard. I think it's a 10, guys. I think it's a 10 out of 10. Not too long after I'd finished the main game, I was talking to a friend and I was like, yeah, man, I'm feeling like it's a 9, maybe 9.5. And then, you know, then we just kept chatting about the game and everything that was in it. And we both paused for a sec and we're like, this shit might be a 10. Honestly, man, because everything this game does to improve and expand upon the gameplay side more than makes up for what we may have lost in the story. Like, they would have had to fuck this story all the way up in order to offset all the good things that they did with the gameplay. But, you know, the story's not fucked up. It's great. It's just not the absolute lightning in a bottle that we got in 2018. And all the improvements and stuff that they did with God of War Ragnarok just really blows me away, because like that 2018 game was so good. It was just amazing. I thought that was a 10 out of 10. So I thought it was incredibly unlikely that you follow it up with another 10 or something like that. But you could see where it was possible, because you could see where there was room for improvement in 2018. And if they had done those improvements, then you would get this result where I just feel like it's another 10. But that was a big if, and they managed to do it. I felt the same way about Horizon Forbidden West. When Horizon Forbidden West was coming out, I played Horizon Zero Dawn, but I could see all these room for improvement. Like, I thought that was a really good game, but I was like, there's so much room for improvement in Zero Dawn. And if Horizon Forbidden West would have done those improvements and just like change this, change that, add this, add that, then holy crap, I was like, this could be like one of the most amazing games ever made. Now, when Forbidden West came out, rather than do all the improvements that they probably should have done, like, they didn't do all the improvements that they should have done. What they did was take what they had, add a couple of things that, you know, were good, but they mostly just polished up what they had to a crazy degree, you know, and we're just like, let's just make this as clean and as smooth as we can make it, instead of kind of making the changes that they would have made. Like they probably, like, they sped up the game a bit, but they probably should have made it a little faster still. There was like no, you know, defensive combat mechanics and stuff like that. Like, you know, there were things in there that probably should have gotten changed that they didn't take. So while it is an improvement, and a damn good improvement over Zero Dawn, it wasn't what it could have been. And now that they've refined it so much, they're at that turning point where it's like, okay, we've made this as good as we could possibly make it. We have to change, or we're just gonna have a boring game in the next one, right? So I hope that next one really has those changes in it. Whereas God of War Ragnarok just said, oh yeah, okay, we're gonna do some risks, we're gonna do some changes, we're gonna lean super hard into being a fucking video game. Like, you know, it's like we're gonna lean really hard into our roots of those original, you know, of those original 3 games. We're gonna like really lean into that. And within the first 2 hours, this game makes it abundantly clear, with a scene that I won't say, it makes it abundantly clear, like, we're a video game, guys. and I fucking love it. But yeah, man, that's all I've got to say, I guess. If you haven't played God of War Ragnarok, I highly recommend doing that. Not if you didn't play the 2018 version. It's like essential. Play the 2018. Play 2018, then come and play Ragnarok. You know, but if you played 2018 already, jump on Ragnarok if you haven't already. Please play it. It's incredible. And if you have, tell me what you think. But anyway, until next time, I am Waifu Selector. I am just a normal guy. I like hentai, and you should go play God of War Ragnarok. Goodbye.